Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
First, a word from this month's sponsor, Ethico.
In the delicate arena of compliance, every conversation matters. Traditional methods can leave callers feeling unheard, but Ethico changes the game. Our empathetic interview technique reshapes compliance calls into powerful, compassionate interactions, ensuring no crucial detail is missed. It's about creating a conversation that matters, that resonates, that makes a difference. Be the change in your compliance approach. See the transformation for yourself at ethico.com/CPN. Book a demo, try our free ROI calculator, and explore the white paper by Tom Fox, The ROI of Compliance.
The Daily Compliance News for July 22nd, 2024, the Victims' Families Edition. We begin with that story from the Financial Times as Boeing crash family victims tee up fight with U.S. prosecutors over the proposed monitorship. The relationship between the victims' families and the Department of Justice just cannot seem to get any worse with the series of mistakes that the DOJ has made and the way they have treated them, although admittedly they have been much better over the past year or so. Nevertheless, the families of the victims do not want the monitorship as proposed by the Department of Justice. They want something that will have real teeth, that Boeing will not have input on, and that will hold Boeing accountable. The DOJ seems to think that they understand that the standard monitor process will work and that Boeing should have the opportunity to choose the monitorship. The families want the judge to select the monitor and the judge to run the monitorship. It's only going to get uglier. From the BBC, the president of Zambia took the extraordinary step of firing the country's entire board of its anti-corruption busting body after they were accused of corruption. It comes days after the head of the ACC, Anti-Corruption Commission, resigned from his post. So, corruption in Africa, I know you're shocked. In a troubling story from Reuters, the Department of Justice has referred to the Office of Inspector General the judicial investigation of former Alaska judge who was removed, or resigned rather, after questions were raised about the conflicts of interest about prosecutors who appeared before him. The state's federal public defender said in a letter that the office's handling, the Alaska attorney, U.S. Attorney Lane Tucker's handling of the matter was troubling. And finally, MAGA states who are trying to prevent banks from doing their job have run afoul of nationwide anti-money laundering laws, as these states, such as Florida, have passed laws saying that you can't look into the background of your customers. So it puts the banks in the position of violating national AML laws, and these MAGA hat-wearing states seem to think that, well, it's certainly okay not to look into the background of your customers because, you know, they're probably making a big campaign donation to the governor's office anyway. So, MAGA states subverting AML. Mentioned at the start of this podcast, this month's sponsor for the entire Compliance Podcast Network is Ethico. Have you ever wondered how to show the ROI of your compliance program? Have you struggled with the budgeting process, getting the funds you want for your compliance program? Well, I've partnered with Ethico to put together a white paper on the ROI of compliance, which shows you not only how to demonstrate ROI, but also how to speak finance when you're sitting across from the CFO with your budget proposals. Check out the website and get the white paper. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.